This is a piece of legislation that we've been working on over the past year in consultation with, in particular, Equality Rights Group. We were able to be at the stage where we could issue the command paper just before Christmas. The consultation period is now up, so we will now progress to issue this as a bill, and we will then take it before Parliament at the next available opportunity.
You've described this as a landmark piece of legislation. Why so?
Well, I think it is quite a landmark piece of legislation because it's the first time that in Gibraltar we will be officially recognising relationships between same-sex couples. Even though this legislation also extends to heterosexual couples, it means that there is the opportunity for people of the same sex to register their relationship as a civil partnership.
Well, I was going to say, there's a very strong Roman Catholic community in Gibraltar. Does this challenge the popular idea that marriage should be between a man and a woman?
This isn't a marriage. What this legislation is about is the registration of a civil partnership between a couple.
For somebody who's listening and is not fully aware of the differences, why civil partnership and not marriage?
The manifesto commitment that we had was that we would legislate in order to recognise civil partnerships. So in law, what is being recognised will be a civil partnership between either a man or a woman or people of the same sex.
Not a very strong response to this last stage of the consultation. Do you think that means that this isn't really an issue for the community, or that you've got the process and the legislation right?
We've had one response to the command paper. What we've done is, because we've engaged groups throughout the period, then the groups that are representative of the parties affected have pretty much been working so closely with us that we've taken on board what they've been saying. Now, I think that this is a piece of legislation that we've been saying over the last year and a half that has been in the pipeline. It hasn't caught anyone by surprise, I don't think. And I don't think that we should read much into the fact that we've had little response to the consultation period, and I don't think that there will be any great objections to this piece of legislation.
You've said previously that equality is at the heart of this legislation. Can you explain how this is so?
Well, there is no existing legislation that would recognise a relationship between people of the same sex. We have had court rulings in the past which gives people of the same sex certain rights. For example, last year we had the Supreme Court rule that the Adoption Act was unconstitutional because it prohibited adoption between couples of the same sex. We had a few years ago the Privy Council ruling on people in a same-sex relationship having rights to government housing. But what we've never had is the mechanism where we can officially recognise people in a relationship, and that is what the civil partnership legislation will now bring about. So there is a mechanism for people to enter into a civil partnership, and there will also be a provision for a mechanism should that break down and have to be dissolved.
For the sake of clarity, does this mean then that a same-sex couple could adopt? Does it mean that they can organise, say, taxes in the same way as a married couple would?
This legislation will now give ancillary rights to people in relationships as they would be recognised in other relationships. There will be benefits in relation to housing, in relation to pension rights. Insofar as adoption, it means that a same-sex couple can apply for an adoption. Now, whether they will be successful in an adoption or not will then of course be subject to the stringent procedure that will be in place for any couple or any individual wanting to adopt.